I am Carl David Ceder, and I am board certified in criminal law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization, and I am passionate about trying to educate the public on what your rights are when dealing with the police. A question I'm asked frequently is, what exactly does a no refusal weekend mean? A huge misconception exists between what the law actually states and what the public perception actually is. A no refusal weekend simply is a local policy during a certain time interval, usually major holidays, whereby if someone is arrested during this time period for a charge of driving while intoxicated, if the person refuses to give a chemical specimen of their breath or blood, the officers must instead simply proceed to obtaining a search warrant. This search warrant must be signed by a magistrate judge and will allow for the collection of the blood sample. It does not, however, take away from the ability for the citizen accused from exercising their right to refuse to give a voluntary sample. What no refusal does not mean is that a person is forced to give up any of their constitutional and/or statutory rights, including their right to refuse to voluntarily give a chemical specimen of their breath or blood following an arrest for DWI. Usually, it just means a specific police department will have the proper protocol in place, usually in order to encourage and usually pressure an individual into giving their consent. All it means, simply put, is they will have the required mechanisms in place, so to speak, in order to expedite the process to make it a bit quicker. It does not, however, obviate with what is required by law. Even during a no refusal period, an individual can and should still decline to give a chemical specimen. Because of this prevailing myth and how far it is propagated over the years, it has resulted in most people now believing that they have to give a breath or blood sample when asked by a police officer after they are already under arrest for DWI. If you are arrested for DWI, regardless of it's a no refusal period or not, you always have the right to decline to give a voluntary chemical specimen. Do not be erroneously led to believe that just because whatever you've heard on the news about no refusals, that you don't have the decision in the matter, and therefore will be forced to give a sample regardless. So be educated about the entire process. In fact, one can and should refuse to give a chemical specimen of breath or blood if arrested for a DWI. The law states that one can choose not to give a voluntary chemical specimen of breath or blood. No refusal weekend or not, the law and procedure that must still take place is still the same. There are a myriad of reasons for why one should choose to exercise their right and choose to refuse. If a search warrant is obtained, do not argue with the officer, be polite, but strictly maintain that you are not giving your consent voluntarily. If they do get a search warrant, an experienced and skilled DWI defense attorney can examine its contents to scrutinize if it meets all proper legal standards. If all necessary legal requirements are not met, the search warrant can be attacked in court. Thus, if you find yourself in this position, please be informed of exactly what a no refusal weekend or a no refusal policy, what it entailed before voluntarily giving a chemical specimen. Do not do the job of the police officers for them. You have rights, and it's within your power to assert them. I am Carl David Ceder. I'm board certified in criminal law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization, and I am passionate about trying to educate the general public about what your rights are when dealing with the police. Therefore, always choose to refuse, even if it is a no refusal weekend.